Alright, Madison. First of all, you have a really good start to your rough draft, and I am just going to make a few suggestions as to what you can do to really fix up the errors that you have, or I guess, the gaps that you have to make this final copy ready. So first I'll just kind of explain some of the technical things that I notice. On the upper left-hand corner, I'll be looking for MLA format as far as information from you. So your name, and then my name, and then EELA 3, and then finally the date that the paper is due, which would be 20 October 2014. And I do want it to be day, month, year. I'll be looking for a title that's got some intrigue about it. Kind of gives me some interest into the piece. And then up in the upper right hand corner, I'll be looking for your last name and the page number for each of those pages. So it'd be Fairfield 1, Fairfield 2, and so on throughout the course of however many pages it takes you to complete the essay. Now your introductory line is awesome. In this novel, Moby Dick, and you have it hyphenated and everything, Melville demonstrates the characteristic of the dark side of romanticism, including insanity, obsession, and vengeance. That's absolutely perfect. Your summary is also really good. I enjoyed that. Brief, but yet it informs of the plot, the who, the what, the where, the when. And then what I would like you to change, the only thing really for your introductory paragraph, is your thesis. And the thesis, the bulk of it is fine. What I'm looking for is one sentence that has all of this information that you've listed. So what I would suggest is something like, throughout the course of the novel, the author uses, and then you would say, symbolism, imagery, and diction to, or these elements working together to form the conclusion of Captain Ahab regarding Moby Dick as evil. Something like that. It just needs to be one sentence that hits the points that you're going to use to prove and what it is that you're going to prove. I would also say that you need to make sure that if you list them as symbolism, imagery, and diction, that you also go in the same order. So if you're going to actually start with imagery, then imagery should be the first literary element that you list. Now moving down into your body paragraphs, Melville's use of imagery throughout the story assists in illustration of the dark side of romanticism and Ahab's true feelings about Moby Dick. That's perfectly fine. The place where you're kind of getting messed up is that these pages really should be just mentioned as in-text citations after the quote that you directly draw from the novel. So for instance, instead of starting on page 286, you may say, the author or the narrator describes Ahab while he is speaking of murdering Moby Dick as, and then I would take out the meanwhile and add lowly humming to himself, producing a sound. Once you get to the end of the quote, before you put your period, you'll just put your quote marks in parentheses. You'll put 286. You don't even need a page or PG or P or anything like that. End your parentheses, then put your quotation, or then put your period. And then you can go on to explain how the description helps illustrate why he wants Moby Dick dead. Same thing here, and then later on down here. These page numbers don't need to say also on page or later on page. You're just saying Ahab describes what he wants the men to do by saying, and then you would end it with 286, and then your explanation. I would also encourage you to change up the sentence variety a little bit. Rather than always starting with a quote and then explaining, maybe explain first and then show the quote later on. Or begin your phrase of explanation, add the quote, then finish up the explanation phrase to help create some intrigue for the reader. As far as throughout the rest of the story, the essay, you do a pretty good job of picking out good explanations or good examples of each of the literary elements that you are speaking to. It's just the same errors throughout the page or throughout the essay. So again, in-text citation after the quote in parentheses throughout the page. Let's see here. As we move through, your conclusion is just going to need a little restructuring. You're just taking your thesis, and your thesis statement should be reorganized and used as the first line of your conclusion. So whatever it is that you choose to do up here at the top to make this one sentence, take that and just kind of reorganize it and open up your conclusion with the same basic sentence. finally, you're going to briefly kind of summarize or hit back on those major points about Melville being obsessed, about him feeling that Moby Dick is evil, and then finally leave us with that final thought, which in this case you did. The elements support the reason that Ahab is actually the evil one and not Moby Dick, but you may even go as far as to explain that Ahab ends up dying in the end due to his obsession and inability to leave Moby Dick alone. If any of this is confusing or you need any more clarification, please do not hesitate to see me throughout the week. Papers aren't due until the 20th. I will have some other work for you to be doing concurrently with finishing and turning in your final copy. But you do have time to come meet with me face to face if you require any additional assistance. All right, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon.